Unity can be defined as the quality or state of being or being made one. It is a oneness, a togetherness, a complete wholeness. And that is what I believe our class to be. We are unified, we are together, we are whole. Of course, we didn't start out this way. Most of us have been together for years, but we haven't always been close. It took us a little while to get here, but we finally made it to the place where we can say that we have all truly been touched for knowing one another. It is sad to say that at the beginning of this year, we were still not the closest class. We did like each other and spent time with one another every so often, but I don't think that you could say we were all great friends who really took a personal interest. We still somewhat had our own little cliques, a fact that someone who we all know very well helped point out to us. But we were not meant to be a divided class. I truly believe that God brought many obstacles, challenges, and opportunities into our lives this year, so that we can not only lean on Him for support, but also to lean on our fellow classmates. The greatest turning point for our class would have to be the preparation and practice for school days, our one-act play that we put on last semester as a fundraiser. If you didn't go, you missed out. It was a great play. We were hilarious. But in order for us to be as funny as we were, and in order for that play to run as smoothly as it did, we had to eat, sleep, and dream school days. We had practices as much as we could inside and outside of school. Practices during study hall, on weekends, after church, just practices all the time. I probably saw my classmates more times in those few months than I ever thought possible. We spent so much time with each other that we really had only two choices: to become completely and utterly annoyed with one another, or to be drawn into one another's company and find that we could tolerate each other much more than we had thought. Fortunately, we chose the latter and have not stopped learning new things about one another since. We all go out to eat together, hang out at our favorite spot, Kendall's house, and watch movies together. Some of our favorites include Nacho Libre, Zoolander, and Elf. We now genuinely enjoy spending time with one another, and we owe it all to a little one-act play that brought us together and gave us that childishly appropriate song that we know so well, School Days. And I'm not gonna sing it, but I will recite it. It says, school days, dear old golden rule days, reading and writing and arithmetic, taught to the tune of a hickory stick. You were my queen in calico, I was your bashful barefoot beau. You wrote on my slate, I love you so, when we were a couple of kids. Now, most of that song doesn't pertain to us as graduates right now, but I believe that the last line does, when we were a couple of kids. A couple of kids. Now, to all the parents, grandparents, aunts, uncles, cousins, and friends, we will always be a couple of kids. We will always be your sons, your daughters, granddaughters, grandsons, little nieces or little nephews, cousins and friends. We're just a little older now. We wear big kid clothes, drive ourselves around town, and make our own decisions. But now as we leave our school days, our high school days, these 10 kids still need you. We are all about to embark on a new journey, and we need you there with us. We need your wisdom, we need your advice, we need your money. We need your prayers, and always, most importantly, we need your love. And to the class of 2009, don't want to cry. It's been a great adventure, and we've had ups and downs and everything in between, and I'm glad to say that I could go through it with all of you. I know you're all meant to do great things because you're not ordinary people. God made each one of you extraordinary, and I'm blessed to know you. I love you all.
Two roads diverged in a yellow wood, and sorry I could not travel both and be one traveler. Long I stood and looked down one as far as I could to where it bent in the undergrowth. Then took the other as just as fair, and having perhaps the better claim, because it was grassy and wanted wear, though as for that, the passing there had worn them really about the same. And both that morning equally lay, and leaves no step had trodden black. Oh, I kept the first for the other day. Yet knowing how way leads on to way, I doubted if I should ever come back. I shall be telling this with a sigh, somewhere ages and ages hence. Two roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference. My class and I learned this poem, The Road Not Taken by Robert Frost, our junior year. It is a familiar poem to most people, or at least certain lines of it are. But when one memorizes a poem like this by reciting it every day, it becomes ingrained into one's mind much more. When one knows words like this, he actually starts to ponder them and think about what the poet was trying to convey. Too often we come across words like these and do not think twice about them. But here we are, the class of 2009, graduating, and we are in the same position as the traveler in this poem. We are standing at a fork and can only go one way. We will never be able to turn back. Time just doesn't work like that. We need to make a decision now as to what path we will take. Will we take the path chosen by so many others? Will it be an open, wide, and sunny path with level ground that you can never roll your ankle on? Will it go through pleasant meadows and always give the traveler plenty of sunshine with no sign of rain, but eventually dead end with no way out? Or will we take the path not chosen by all others? Will it be narrow, winding, uneven, and sometimes dark and gloomy? But will we brave the difficulties this path presents to ultimately follow it to a scene of beauty beyond imagination? The metaphor is obvious. There will always be dozens of opportunities and choices for people to choose from, but there ultimately will only ever be two options: to follow the path of this world or to follow the path designated by God. The world's path may seem easier and more beautiful, and God's path may seem more dark and twisted. But will we follow the easier path and reach a dead end, or will we follow the harder path and be ultimately satisfied? The difference between the paths is not determined by what the traveler passes along the way, but by what he reaches upon arriving at the end. Throughout this year, my class has been a driving force that has pushed me to walk farther along the path of God. Without them, I would surely slip into mediocrity, but they hold me accountable. This is one of the greatest things that Cornerstone has blessed me with: wonderful, godly friendships with my classmates. Through all the great memories, Davis wearing a mullet in New York City and hopping the construction fence on the playground, my whole class playing charades in DFW, the Candy Cove, Free Furry Furry Rabbit Friday, and everything else, my classmates have inspired me to live for Christ and have helped me along the way. They have proved to me over and over that they are not just my friends, but they are almost like family. To them, I would like to say that I wish you the best of luck, and I know that God has a great plan for your life. Thank you for all the friendships and memories you have given me. I am truly honored to call myself your friend.
Every Wednesday morning, we have a chapel service, and we have various speakers from around the town. One of our speakers that we use quite often, and he's always a blessing to us, we have here this afternoon to challenge our graduates and to challenge us. I know he will. He's the associate pastor of Freedom Fellowship, and he's also involved with Get Connected Ministries, leads singing, does overall evangelism work throughout the town, and is a great friend of the gospel. And I would like to introduce to you at this time Mr. Jeffrey Peters.
Right. I got the earpiece, so I don't have to bend down and talk like this the whole time. I'm going to just move this a little bit out of the way. And I don't know if you guys, but I've already been blessed being here. I mean, just made full from the testimony of you guys of what God is doing in your life. You've already been on a journey. You've been in the training phase of being a child, of being a youth, of being a young adult. And now you're going to continue to press in the journey, the story of life that God has for you. And I got to talk to a few of the seniors, and the thing that they kept on saying is that one of the things that is really cool about this class is that we're friends, and that we really, truly appreciate each other's differences, and we work together as a team. And they all said that over and over, the relationships and the close-knitted group that they have become through the experience of being here, a part of this school at Cornerstone. And that is just a tremendous blessing. And I do acknowledge this school for which I'll stand for in our community. And the teachers that are standing in those tough times when a student, of course not y'all, will come in, oh, it's 8 o'clock in the morning, I don't want to do math right now, I don't want to do science. Those type of attitudes that we have to face, and the habits that we develop of just being tired and pressing in. But these students are learning to press in through obstacles of life that are difficult. They're learning the life lessons. Yes, the math and the science is going to take them into their careers and those types of things. But the relationships that they have built will be those life lessons of maturity and character that will carry them over into business, that will carry them over into government, that will carry them over to be teachers and lawyers and doctors, and those things that will change our nation. And that's why at the end they were saying that pray for us. Yeah, we need your money, but pray for us. Because I believe that this is a generation that's rising up, that there's a standard that's been established here at Cornerstone to leave a legacy that will inspire people to live a life of worship. And that's what these kids are learning, to live a life of worship. Some of the things that I asked the kids, what advice would you give to your peers from your experience, from this experience at Cornerstone? Start working hard early. Submit to authority. Easier to learn through listening than enduring. So just don't endure the rest of this process here tonight. Enjoy it. Enjoy these guys. Celebrate with these guys. Hit the books earlier. Don't procrastinate. Persevere. And change your attitude about things. Change your attitude. Adults, change your attitude and perspective that your kids would continue to see the godly character in you. Some of you might have came in complaining tonight because your hair was messed up and because your clothes were wet. But praise God for rain in San Angelo. It's our perspective. And that's what I want to share with you tonight. Your perspective must change in order to bring peace, in order to bring passion, in order to bring life. That's what we're called to do as Christians. To declare life, to exhibit life, to speak life, declare those things that are holy and worthy and righteous. So the perspective on the journey. You guys are stepping into a new realm, an unknown place, foreign. You're probably a little scared. You're probably a little fearful. But maybe you're really excited. No more books, right? I remember saying that, but I think probably I'm 33 now. I continue to go to school, in a sense. I'm always learning. You're always learning. You'll never forget. But the things that Mrs. Anderson and your other teachers have taught you, discipline of habits and and pressing in like that act play when you didn't want to, you're tired of practicing. It builds character, and you will succeed. The roads that we take many times don't look like we think they should look, do they? They don't look that way. But along the way, there are some gems that we can collect. There's some blessings that we can see in the midst of those paths that are crooked and narrow and uncertain. I want to read a story about Saul. Many of you have heard that story, right? Saul, who becomes Paul. He was passionate. He was charismatic. He was excited about persecuting the Christians. Pressing in. You're going to get excited about a job. You're going to get excited about pursuing your dreams and passions that are within you. Don't try to be anybody else. Be who God has called you to. Psalms 139 says that you were created uniquely. You were knitted and created uniquely for a day such as this. This is not only your day, but God's day for you. Class of 2009. So in Acts 9, it says, meanwhile, Saul was still breathing out murderous threats against the Lord's disciples. He went to the high priest and asked him for letters to the synagogues in Damascus, so that if he found any there who belonged to the way, whether men or women, he might take them as prisoners to Jerusalem. As he neared Damascus on his journey, suddenly a light from heaven flashed around him. He fell to the ground and heard a voice say to him, Saul, Saul, why do you persecute me? Who are you, Lord? Saul asked. I am Jesus whom you are persecuting. He replied, now get up and go into the city, and you will be told what you must do. Paul was on a journey. He was surprised on that journey, wasn't he? And then he got direction. Go into the city. And many times you only have that next step. Maybe that next step right now is going to ASU. Going into the fire department. Going into media. Maybe that's the only step that you know right now. But God will make your path clear. You can count on that. It may be scary, it may be uncertain, but God will iron out the details. So he told Paul what to do, and he said, who are you, Lord? Saul asked. I am Jesus whom you are persecuting. He replied, now get up and go into the city, and you will be told what you must do. The men traveling with Saul stood there speechless. They heard the sound, but did not see anyone. Saul got up from the ground, but when he opened his eyes, he could not see nothing. So they led him by the hand into Damascus. For 3 days he was blind and did not eat or drink anything. In Damascus there was a disciple named Ananias. The Lord called to him in a vision, Ananias. Yes, Lord, he answered. The Lord told him, go to the house of Judas on the straight street and ask a man from Tarsus named Saul, for he is praying in a vision, and he has seen a man named Ananias come and to place his hands on him to restore his sight. See, you've had some people in your life that have come alongside of you. Ananias is about to come alongside of Paul. Your teachers, your parents, your peers have come alongside of you to encourage, keep on going. Press in. You know those dreams that are within your heart, the dreams that are in your mind that you can't even describe because they're so great. Press in. God's got a call on your life. Then the Lord told him, or let's get down to 12. Lord, Ananias answered, I have heard many reports about this man and all the harm he has done to your saints in Jerusalem. And he has come here with authority from the chief priest to arrest all who call on your name. But the Lord said to Ananias, go, this man is my chosen instrument to carry my name before the Gentiles and their kings, before the people of Israel. I will show him how much he must suffer for my name. Now I want to focus on this part right here. Go this man is chosen instrument to carry my name before the Gentiles. You're chosen. You're chosen to go carry the glory of God wherever you go, whether it's in media, the government, teaching, singing, whatever it is. Your countenance can reflect the glory of God. So Ananias was continuing to be obedient. And we'll skip down. Ananias prayed and was obedient. Through obedience, when you're obedient, things happen, things change. So Ananias prayed for Saul, and he could see. Is that true? Have y'all read that story before? He could see. So Saul spent several days with his disciples in Damascus. At once he began to preach in the synagogues that Jesus is the Son of God. Now it said Saul spent several days. Well, there was a period there. When we think, oh, we read that